My last video to film this Christmas season, and it is my top 10 books of 2020. I always kind of, when you see like all the books I read in 2019, it is every single book up until New Year's, but I do backdate it through like mid-Christmas era to see if there was any other books that I absolutely adored and loved, because they don't get to end up on this list. So this is a full year's list of reading, about 120 books, so the top 10 of those beating out 110 other books that I read this year and absolutely adored and loved. So let's get started to the best of the best. So coming in at book number 10 is a YA fantasy novels. They've not been on either of my other lists, but I absolutely adored these books. I can't say enough. So, The Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller and The Daughter of the Siren King by Tricia Levenseller. I stumbled upon these books this year and can't recommend them enough. Absolutely love them, adore them. If you're into some YA fantasy or some quick fantasy you'd like to read, it is so good. But it's about a girl whose father is a pirate king, and he like kind of rules the seas. It kind of reminds me of the Caribbean. It's like he rules like these little islands, and she is a very powerful girl herself. She gets herself trapped on a boat, and romance ensues. And then this story is about her other half, the Siren Queen. She's the daughter of the Pirate King and the Siren Queen. So, whoo, yeah. Hope you like them. Hope you love them. This is book number 10. It's the best books of the year. And let's move on to book number 9. This has been on all 3 of my lists, and it is If I Never Met You by Mhairi McFarlane, and I absolutely adored this romance, loved it. There was nothing to complain about. It's about a girl, it's a fake relationship trope, a girl who wants to be in a relationship because her long-term relationship boyfriend broke up with her, works in the same law firm, and like shoves it, she hands up with another girl right away, ends up pregnant, and it's a lot to take in. And then a guy who wants to like kind of polish off his like side, but he doesn't believe in long-term relationships or romantic relationships, kind of, you know. So it's quite boring. I've heard this trope so many times, but this is my favorite time I've ever read this. I believe this trope, and absolutely adored it and loved it. There was nothing right away, like immediately. Sometimes I him and haw on books, like, is that a 4, 4.5, is that a 5? But this book, immediately I was like, 5 stars. It was so good. Good romance here. Go ahead and pick it up. So this one was so much lower on my romantic relationship because I don't love these guys as much, but the whole Beard series I absolutely adored, so it had to be book number 8 on my list here. The whole series, just read the whole series. Absolutely adored these series, but Grin and Bear was my favorite from Penny Reid. This tells the story of these young men with beard. There's 6 brothers, I believe, and 1 sister. Go back and read the sister's book first. Absolutely adored her story, probably just as much as his story. But this is a guy who meets a celebrity. It's, I think, the funniest of all the stories. They're such easy, fast romances. And it's about a young men who like lost their mom, and the daughter as well lost their mom. And then they're all kind of growing up at this age. Some of them were rough and tumbled, some of them weren't, but this one's my favorite. Absolutely love this series. Had to make the list. This is like a series one. Book 8 is a series, kind of like book 10. But I could not make the list. So yeah. Grin and Bear, check it out. Book number 8. Oh, book number 7, once again, in all 3 of these, I did not have, or the last 2, I did not have the book, but it is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I loaned it out by Talia Hibbert. This is the second in the series, that's why I'm showing it to you. But Get a Life, Chloe Brown is about a girl with a chronic illness, and she's in a lot of pain all the time, so physically she can't do much, but she almost gets hit by a car and is like near-death experience, so she decides to get a life. She writes her list. The book is hilarious, funny, romance, and absolutely adored it and loved it and picked me up when I was a little bit down. So just love the book so much. Give it heart. So book number 7 is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. Book number 6 is 3 Times Lucky by Sheila Turnage. This is a Newbery Honor Award. I read this from middle grade large and absolutely adored it and loved it. This has not made a list of any other books, but these are the books I'm telling you that I loved everything about them the most. Like everything involved in it. This tells a story about a young girl. It's a middle grade read, but adults will love this as well. But it's about a young girl who wants to be a detective, butts herself in the way of the detective. She's quite spunky. She kind of reminds me of Anna Green Abels in way, and just adore this book. Her and this detective end up solving this mystery. Absolutely love it. It is so good and highly recommend. Such a quick, look how big the writing is. Such a quick, easy read for those who don't like to read them much as well. Absolutely adored it and loved it. Will always keep it. So good. Number 5 was also not on my list this year, but it is Bend in the Stars by Rachel Bunham. This was my first 5-star read of the year, and just I'd been reading books and oh, this is okay, and then this one blew me away. It was so good. Bend in the Stars is a sweeping epic tale across Russia during World War II when they're getting tight on the rules and laws are getting tight on the Jewish community. Her grandmother, Babushka, is this well-known like matchmaker. And so there's kind of romances that are ensuing, but her brother is just like phenomenal, like best physicist ever. There's like this little thing between him and Einstein. It is so good. He's trying to reach this destination to fulfill this physics thing, and then also she's trying to maybe escape with her brother because they need to. And so it's such this epic sweeping tale across Russia. It's kind of cold. It's definitely a very good winter read. I would highly recommend this book. Absolutely adored it and loved it. It kind of broke me out of my reading slump this year, so I can't give it enough credit. I've loaned it out. That's why I don't have it here, but it does have a beautiful cover of this like girl in the stars. And yes, my book number 5, Bend in the Stars by Rachel Bunham. So book number 4 is 3 Hours in Paris by Cara. This one did meet one of my lists, and yeah, absolutely love this story. Once again, it's an epic sweeping tale about this girl. She's American. You don't know why she ends up in Paris trying to kill the Fuhrer. That's like the tip off of the story. It's very fast paced. It's action paced. There's some romance involved. It's just really good. Highly recommend this book. Absolutely loved it. This is book number 4, Cara Black's 3 Hours in Paris. Number 3 is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. This was my best romance of the year. So my favorite couple of romance is about a girl and a guy who hate each other and don't know why they were married or whatever, and it's working through the kinks of hard relationships. Absolutely love this book. It was a debut novel. It was my favorite romantic couple of the year, and yeah, can't say enough about it. Book number 3 is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. Number 2 and book number 1 are probably easy guesses at this point, but this was my favorite of 2020 list. It was in my top of romances as well, but it's Recipe Persuasion by Sonali. Absolutely adored this book. It is a retelling of Jane Austen's Persuasion, and it's like an Indian contemporary retelling set in California. Absolutely adore this book. Love this book. I think I have a review on it. There was nothing I didn't like about this book. Absolutely love the couple. Oh, it's just so good. Definitely a 5-star read. And check out the other ones by her, Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility is coming out soon. Oh, so excited. I love a good Jane Austen read, and just my Jane Austen reads don't make top 10s at all. So yeah, it's great when someone writes a phenomenal story and characters. So book number 2 is Recipe for Persuasion by Sonali. 1, if you haven't guessed it at all, was on one other list, and it is Jojo Moyes, The Giver of the Stars. Love this story. I love good sweeping tales. I love tales that like are quite adventurous. I love tales that are romantic, and this kind of has it all. And it's set in America. It's set, I believe, in Kentucky. Is it Kentucky? Yeah, it's set in Kentucky. Oh, look how pretty it is. It's all like starry out, and beautiful. It's about a girl who becomes a traveling librarian in the wagon, which was like a system promoted by Eleanor Roosevelt. It's about to get people literate and, you know, information for all, access for all, so people have the knowledge and the power to power themselves. Absolutely love this story. Loved it. The romance is great. There was nothing bad about this book. Highly recommend it. Everybody I give it to really likes it as well. So my book number 1 of this year is Jojo Moyes, The Giver in the Stars. And book list is all done. So those are all 12 books I absolutely adored, or all 10 books I absolutely adored and loved this year. And I mean, the end of the year hasn't quite happened, but those will end up on next year's list. So I will see you guys in the next one. See you guys next time. Bye.